So the lessons that I learned in coming up in the sports world was that, you know, you need to be responsible for yourself. You need to do the work. Nobody's going to do it for you. You can't show up and expect everything to go your way just because you're on the team. If you're not practicing, if you're not working hard, if you're not putting in the effort, then you'll get left behind. So I incorporate that into my daily life now. I'm extremely disciplined in what I do. I work my ass off because it matters to me. I don't want to just do something half-assed. I want to make sure that if I'm going to do it, that I put all my focus and all my energy into it. And my world now is different in some respects from the sporting world, but in others, some of the lessons and strategies are the same. I think maybe a psychologist could analyze this. But in football, I was a free safety. In soccer, I was a center fullback. And in baseball, I was a catcher. So I was always the last line of defense, I suppose. I liked being in a position where I could see the rest of the field. I could see everybody there, and I could maneuver accordingly. As a catcher, you're the captain of the team. As a center fullback, if anything goes wrong, it's going to be on you. I like that pressure. If you're a free safety, you're the last line of defense before the ball gets in the end zone. So maybe that's just in my personality to want to be the last line of defense and protect the rest of my teammates to the extent that I can. I did learn one thing from working in professional sports, and that is a deep-seated distrust for the mainstream corporate media. I watch what they do to athletes, to unsophisticated young kids that come up, and the media gets a hold of them and twists them and turns their lives upside down because they can. And part of what we did was we prepared these kids for interacting with the media. So I would speak early on and often about examining your relationship with the media as a professional athlete. Do not ever trust these people. They're snakes. They don't want what's best for you. They're looking for a good story. And if they can find a good story at your expense, they will run that. So my deep hatred of the media came from a place of wanting to protect our clients from what the press will do to you if you don't know how to handle them. So I think that that's part of what led me into what I'm doing now, is that when you understand that the enemy is the media, then you can plan accordingly. What's happened is I've gone from books, which is a yearly situation, to Macroaggressions, which is twice a week, to eventually Activist Post, which is 10 times a day. So the path of delivering information has gotten shorter and shorter, in part because it has to. The opportunity with Macroaggressions was phenomenal because the way we set it up was a monologue once a week and an interview once a week as well. And to have the opportunity to interview intelligent people about what they see and how they see the world, and then have an hour to myself as a monologue where I can drill down in a particular subject, allows me the opportunity to really talk about the details. We in the independent media have a responsibility to make sure that we are committed to telling the truth. We see the insanity, we laugh at it, we mock it relentlessly because it deserves that, but we understand the serious nature of this and what we're up against and where we're going and how dark things can get. They're interested in getting everybody on a caste system that is beneath them. Ideological subversion of a nation without firing a shot. These are CIA front companies disguised as publicly traded companies. And so the point is to get to that place where The general public views you as the good guy, not as the bad guy. They certainly don't want you to be educated about how the system actually works. Because if you were, you would understand that you've got to get outside of the system. This represents about 5 years of monologue episodes. So what I deal with is facts and statistics and information that's measurable and provable. I don't dig into the realm of theory, though I could, and it certainly is fun. But this is conspiracy analysis. This is not conspiracy theory. And what this shows is that when you lay it out in front of you, there is a massive conspiracy that's happening. It's undeniable. It's only hidden to the extent that people choose not to go and seek it out. But it's most definitely happening. It's all around us. This is a representation, just a small representation, of the information that goes into the books. Podcasts are one thing. The books require time commitments that are massive and there's no way to do it quickly. In fact, in order to do it right, you have to take your time and be patient. When you start, you don't know where you're going. Frankly, it's probably for the best that you don't. I can't unknow all of this. That's the curse. The hardest part of writing books about depopulation and mass murder by the state and eugenics and the thinning of the herd is that if you spend too much time with this material, it does something to you. The relationship that the general public has with the mainstream media is an abusive relationship, much in the same way that the relationship that the people have with the government. If you treated your spouse the way the government treats you, they'd have a restraining order against you, of course. And we know who these people are. They talk openly about it. George H.W. Bush mentioned the New World Order over 200 times in his 4 years in office. So it's only a secret if you don't look into it. And they envision a world government, more like world governance, ruled by laws, supranational, above nation states, and coordinating together through policies to get everybody on the same page. It's not tanks on every street corner in every country. You can't do that. It's controlled through policy. It's much more devious. It's the only way they could actually pull it off, too. So we detail who they are, what they want, and why they're doing it.
Controlled demolition of the American Empire.
Yeah.
Look familiar? Yeah. There's a little name right next to it. That's me. Jeff reached out to me. I was on the Anarchast promoting my first book, The Octopus of Global Control, which came out in 2017. And when we got done talking, he said, "You want to write a book together?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely. What do you have in mind?" And he said to me, "It's all coming down."
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, what are we talking about? You know, like the banking system and everything. Oh, yeah. But that stuck in my head that it's coming down. And I thought, like a building. And so we decided that would be a great metaphor for how you take down the American empire, the same way you sort of take down, a high-rise building. Where you identify the support columns, pre-weaken the building.
We cannot track $2.3 trillion in transactions.
Rig the detonators.
We had that big explosion from much, much lower.
Down the alarm.
It was like 3 explosions after that. We came in after the fire. We came when the fire was going on already.
Down the plungers.
Plan to take down a building. Boom, 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 boom.
Is pull it. And they made that decision to pull. And then we watched the building collapse.
Clear the debris.
Like you're in a foundry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like lava.
Like lava from a volcano.
One of the things we're talking about is actually 9/11 in the book.
Yeah.
So to us, this is common knowledge, but
right.
to many people, it isn't. It is funny reading some of the comments on like Amazon and stuff. But there's a ton. It's like 95% 5-star, and the 1 stars are the funny ones.
Yeah.
Because they're like, this is pure garbage. I burnt it. You burnt it.
Wow.
Why would you burn a book? How triggered did you get from this information?
And on selection day, it became a #1 bestseller in the United States and Australia, and that is thanks to Jeff's massive audience and the Anarchapulco crowd, so thanks for that.
Thanks for putting on the event again every year. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to say.
This place is magical. Anarchapulco is one of a kind.
So how do you feel?
Energized. I haven't had the proverbial bad trip. I think that's when you drag bad energy into the experience, and I've never had that. And it's always been extremely positive. And it's you know, I've moved on and tried different substances over the years. It most definitely leaves you with a sense of, in my case, it felt like I was on the right path, embarking on something much bigger, that I was right at the beginning of that. That's an interesting feeling because you don't know what you don't know, but you get the feeling that the universe knows what's in store for you, and it's letting you know in advance, hey, this is what's coming on the horizon. Big things are about to happen, and you're uniquely positioned to be a part of it. Are you ready? Yep. Is it up?
Up is on.
Woo-hoo! Hello! Welcome! You did it!
You're here! I'm here. I almost wasn't here, but I'm here now. So that's all that matters. Welcome. Anybody first time? First timers? Whoa, I love it. You guys are so excited. You're all going to be on a watch list by the time you leave, but don't worry about that. That's fine. It's normal. Welcome to Anarchapulco. This is the best week of the year. If you're somebody that typically is a little bit more introverted, I'm here to give you permission to come out of your shell for the next week, okay? Even if it makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable, I'll tell you what. You're going to know or recognize just about everybody by the time we get to Friday, so you might as well talk to them right off the bat. This is the best place in the world to make yourself feel like you're not crazy.
But this is where our power is being here around like-minded people and reminding ourselves we're not alone, we're not crazy, we're just early. That's all.
My favorite time of year is going to the live events. And once a month they have artists come in and showcase their work. I fucking love this place, man. Yeah. Oh, they light up too. Ahoy, matey. It appears the octopus has wrapped them up in his tentacles. I've been training to fight the octopus my entire life. Go, 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 go. One of the common denominators that I noticed is that the globalists like to play the long game. There's no time limit. It's intergenerational. Baseball has no time limit either. It's about pattern recognition, patience, waiting for the exact moment to strike. Games can go on and on and on, be filled with sheer boredom for long stretches, and then momentary chaos that changes everything. I read a ton. I read a ton of articles every day. It's a great way to be informed, bordering on inundated with information. But what's the alternative? You gotta catch as much of it as you can catch. It's tough to grab it all. I think we do a pretty good job here. I want out. I want out. Get me out of here. Get me out of this bullshit. It's so frustrating to live in this world. You want to just shake people and say, can't you see this? Can't you see what is right in front of your eyes? They can't see it. I don't want to be the guy who ruins the party by bringing this stuff up. You know, the guy who's like, don't invite him anymore. He's going to talk about how the world is ending or what. And I don't want to be that. I'd love to be more optimistic about it. But then I go out in the general public and I see people and I just think, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. It's like the guy who comes back from the war who has seen some shit. And you ask him, what's wrong, man? And he's got that 1,000-yard stare. And he just says, I don't want to talk about it. And sometimes that's how I feel. I don't want to talk about it. You don't want to hear it. You don't want to know what I know. I don't want to know what I know sometimes. But if you're in this arena, you're going to learn just how horrible mankind can be to each other. And so I censor a lot of that. I don't infuse that into my conversations with family members because I don't want them to have to feel the sorrow that I feel. One of the components that's filled the void has been psychedelics, and has always been a part of my life since I was 18 years old. I remember telling my mom when I was after the first time I had done mushrooms that I felt like it was beneficial. There's something going on in my head and I feel so much better in the aftermath, and I don't know what it was. It took about 25 years until there was a study showing that psilocybin reconnects the neural pathways in your brains, and they were showing PET scans of the before and after use, and it was lit up in the after video. And I showed my mom, I said, see, I knew I was onto something here. I've always felt better in the aftermath. The idea that you're tapping into something that is ancient, and that when you hear about something like ayahuasca, when they take the root from one plant and the leaves from another plant, and they brew them together over 3 days in a proper sequence, and you wind up with something that tastes like the worst thing you've ever drank in your entire life, and it takes you to the edge of reality and back, and you realize that the statistical probability of finding the root from one of these plants and the leaves from another plant in a jungle that has 125,000 different species of plants is almost impossible. And when they asked the shaman how did they find out about this, they said the jungle told them.
Hey, Charlie!
Hey guys, what's up? So, you know, I don't pretend to know how it all works. I would never be so arrogant, but the idea is that I'm on a journey to find out what it's all about, with no actual expectation that I will.